there is not one tax deduction that I could think of that is as underused or overused than any other tax deductions. What am I talking about? That's going to be your meals and entertainment. So if you are new to business, you probably don't really understand what meals you could write off, how much you could write off, if you could write them off at all. In this video, what I'm going to do is go over some common times where you could deduct meals that you probably don't know you could deduct. And then I'll also go over instances that I see all the time that are not tax deductible, but people try to claim on their tax returns. If you're new here, my name is Jeanette Andrada. I am a tax strategist licensed through the IRS, and I help therapists in private practice pay the least amount of taxes using tax and accounting strategies. Let's get into this video. I'm going to share my screen. And by the way, this is a free resource in my resource library that you could download. I recommend to download that so that you could have some type of reference guide. Check it periodically. We forget these kind of things, so make sure to check it periodically and think of any situations where these apply to you and make adjustments to your bookkeeping as needed to make sure they're accounted for correctly. Here we go. And this is my list of 2023 deductible meals and entertainment. If you are new to understanding how meal deductions work, there are three percentages that you could take. You could either do 0%, 50%, or 100%. There's actually a whole other percentage, but I'm not going to go in here because it won't apply to most of the therapists that I work with. So 0%, 50%, 100%. Let's start with the 0% deductible. And like I had mentioned, entertainment expenses are not deductible. So the things that you will see that are non-deductible is going to be your baseball and football games with clients and prospects. This happens a lot in other industries. I don't expect to see this a lot with therapists, but just in case you're thinking about doing something like that, not deductible. If you decide to throw a year-end party for your customers, again, not that I see this applying for therapists, but if that does happen, you can't write that off. And if there's golf or theater outing or football game with your best customers. Next, let's go into the common ones. So the 50% deductible. This is where you're going to see the majority of the deductions that you qualify for in your practice. So for 50%, I've highlighted the ones that I feel will really be relevant to you. So the restaurant meals with clients and prospects. So this one will be 50% deductible. And I know although you probably won't take your clients to, get meals or prospects, you might be taking other colleagues or somebody else that's part of your business, some vendors, or if you wanted to take me to lunch, like that sort of thing, right? And we work together. So that would be a business write-off of a 50% meal. Now, employee meals for required business meeting purchase from a restaurant. This is a good one if you have a group practice and you have a meeting with all of your therapists and you purchase it from a restaurant, then you will be able to deduct 50% off if that is a required meeting. Now, meals consumed in a fancy restaurant while in overnight business travel status. So this is a really cool one. Don't think that because you are on travel or your business is paying for it that you can't go somewhere nice. So if you are in overnight travel, that means that you actually stayed somewhere, right? Then you are able to go to any restaurant. It doesn't have to be a fancy one. It doesn't have to be a non-fancy one. And you could write that off as a business travel meal. And similarly, if you are in an traveling overnight and you decide to cook in your hotel room kitchen while traveling away, then you could write off those expenses as well. Now let's go into the 100% one because this is the one that I see a lot of people do not know about, and so they miss this quite frequently. Whenever you do have a year-end party for your employee and their spouses, that is 100% write-off. This is especially important if you have a group practice or you have multiple employees. If you are going to just have like a Christmas party, for example, is a very common one. That could be huge tax savings if you have, let's say, 10 employees and you're paying for all their spouses as well. And for it to be 100% written off instead of 50%, that's pretty substantial. So another one, which I think is a really good one that is overlooked, is team building recreational event for all employees. So if you have employees and you take them out to do some team building type of exercise, you go painting, you go, I don't know, do like those escape rooms or whatever, you do for your team building, that's 100% write-off for your business. So because we have that, we already know what we could write off. What we haven't gone over is what's not on that list. And the one thing that I see, and probably the only thing I'm going to talk about, is the most common thing that I see is going to be when my therapists go to lunch on their own and they pay for their own lunch, or they go to Starbucks and get a coffee and they pay for their own coffee and they do that as a business expense. That is not a business expense, guys. I hate to break it to you. The business meals have to have a business reason, aka there is going to be potential like profits, like there's a reason why you're doing that that's going to benefit your business. So if you are going and you're going to the coffee shop on your own to pull up your laptop and work, that is not a business expense, because you as an employee, for example, could do the same thing and you wouldn't charge your employer to buy you coffee. So as the business owner, you don't want to do that. Same thing with lunch. Just because you're having a working lunch doesn't mean that it's a business expense, because you would have to eat lunch anyway. So it's not a necessary expense for the business because you would have had to purchase your lunch anyway. Make sure to keep good records when you're there, when you get a receipt. You want to make sure to always go in and write down on your receipt who was there and what was the purpose of the meal, what you guys discussed, things like that. Just something to be able to refer back to, that if you were questioned in an audit, you would be able to say, this is when I met with Jeanette. We were talking about accounting services for my business and how it would be beneficial for me. So make sure you have all of that documentation in place to keep yourself clear in the future. I really want to thank you so much for sticking along to watch this video. Make sure to download my meals and entertainment list. Like I said, refer back to it, check back on it. Even myself, I will go back to it periodically and it'll jog my memory that, oh yes, we need to do this. So we have to make adjustments to our, our bookkeeping process to make sure that we're capturing all of this and whatnot. So just keep it handy. If you need help with your bookkeeping and you need help with keeping track of all of this stuff and just get everything organized, reach out to me. Right now is a great time. We're going into the, we're well into the other half of the year, which means that taxes will be here sooner than we know it. We want to make sure that you're prepared, that you're ready, that you are not stressed out last minute. So reach out to us and we will get you all taken care of. All right. Make sure to check my link in my bio for all this information. I will talk to you next time.